The phone rang at 1:13 a.m. No hospital reaches out at that hour unless death is near. Your son is in critical condition, the voice reported, detached, clinical. My chest froze. My hands forgot how to move. He was 6. Still had gaps in his smile where teeth once were. Still feared the dark. Still called me Daddy, like it meant protection. I had only been gone 3 nights, a work trip I had postponed too many times. He was with my wife and her mother. I dialed her in a panic, struggling to form words. What happened? Is he? She laughed. Not nervous laughter. Not the shocked kind. A laugh like a punchline. You really left him with me, she said. Like I'd handed her a setup for a cruel joke she'd been dying to tell. Then came her mother's voice, cold and sharp enough to cut skin. He never listens, she said flatly. He brought it on himself. No screams came from me. No tears. I sat in the hotel room, motionless, phone still clutched in my hand, chest echoing with a scream that refused to come out. By sunrise, I was at the hospital. An hour later, they showed up too. When they saw him lying there, tiny, tangled in cords and tubes, skin blooming with bruises, they gasped. This isn't real, they cried. Their grief was rehearsed. I'd read their lines before they spoke. They told the doctors he slipped. That the stairs were slick. That no one saw. I nodded slowly, pretending to absorb it. I didn't believe a word. My son was careful. Always alert. He hated yelling. Always double-checked before taking a step. But what disturbed me wasn't the lie itself. It was how little effort they made to make it convincing. My wife seemed more bored than heartbroken. Her mother complained about the coffee. When I asked what he'd said before it happened, my wife narrowed her eyes and muttered, "He kept asking for you." Wouldn't stop. Her tone was more irritated than grieving. I looked at her like I was seeing a stranger. Something in her face had rearranged, twisted into something foreign. There was rot in their silence. Something festering in how she never touched our son's hand. I stayed in his hospital room, unmoving, pretending heartbreak had paralyzed me. Truth is, I was listening, watching. A nurse slipped me the medical file in passing. She glanced down the hall first. This wasn't a fall, she whispered. Too many injuries. Too specific. Broken ribs. Bruised lungs. Wounds that only come from trying to protect yourself. That night, I dug through his backpack. Inside was a drawing, crayon-scrawled madness. 2 towering figures, circled in red, looming over a small, crying stick figure. The big ones had angry faces. My son had drawn his pain before his body gave out. I folded the paper once and slid it into my coat pocket like a loaded weapon. Next, I checked the hidden nanny cam. The one buried on a bookshelf, disguised behind old novels. I watched the footage alone in the hospital cafeteria, the screen glowing like a ghost. My wife shouting, "Stop crying!" A slap. Her mother standing there, arms folded, watching like an uninterested spectator. My son curled up on the floor, trying to disappear. He didn't fall. They threw him. I saved the footage. Copied it to 3 places, my phone, a flash drive, and an encrypted cloud folder. And then I waited. They arrived the next day with flowers and artificial sorrow. Day 4. While they stood at the foot of his bed, I handed my wife an envelope. She opened it slowly. Inside, screenshots. The drawing. The medical charts. Stills from the footage. Her fingers stiffened. "What is this?" she asked, barely able to breathe. "Nothing," I replied, looking straight at her. She turned to her mother. "Did you know?" Her mother's expression twisted. "He was acting out. I told you we shouldn't have taken him. Taken him. Like he wasn't theirs." Her mask cracked first. My wife's followed. They turned on each other, crying, blaming, pleading. But I had one more move left. I stepped aside, and the detective I'd asked to wait outside walked into the room. Their faces drained. Panic overtook their practiced calm. I didn't press charges immediately. No. I let them stew in fear. Let them weep in the interrogation room while I calmly drank coffee behind the one-way mirror. Her mother screamed for a lawyer. None came. Then I handed over the custody papers. Sole custody. No visitation. I didn't need a legal team. The evidence was overwhelming. The nurse testified. A child psychologist analyzed the drawing. Their world collapsed. And I stood silent through it all. No yelling. No threats. No fists. Just one whisper to my wife. You laughed. She shattered right there in the hallway. Not from guilt, but because she'd lost the one thing she thought she still controlled. Our son is healing now. Still flinches when a door slams. Still wonders aloud if monsters are real. I tell him no. Because I don't lie. I've simply redefined the term. Monsters don't live under beds. They stand at wedding altars. They hand you coffee while your child screams behind a closed door. But I buried those monsters. And I never raised my hand to do it. Only the truth. And the truth, when whispered, cuts deeper than any blade. Sometimes the coldest revenge is walking away holding everything they tried to take.